Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the KMN 1971 back with another comic book haul. I actually wanted to shoot this last week, but as was the case with many people in Massachusetts, I was out of power until probably 2:30 in the morning last Sunday. So, not complaining. There were a lot more people that were much more inconvenienced for a lot longer than I was. So, but here I am back again, and if anything, just an extra week's worth of books are included in this haul. Nothing crazy in this haul. For the next couple of hauls, I'm probably going to be dialing it back a little bit. Probably not in quantity, but as far as bigger keys. So far this year, I've accrued the first appearance of Luke Cage, the first appearance of Iron Fist, Grendel, The Crow, and those books are not cheap. So now I'm going for books that are definitely under the $100 mark, for at least for the next couple of months. And luckily for me, there's still plenty of stuff on my list to scratch off. So without further ado, let's get on with the haul, because I have probably about 40 something books to get through. And magazines, actually. That's another thing that I'm kind of psyched about this haul. I ran across a nice little stash of Bronze Age and early Copper Age magazines from Marvel Comics. So love those things. So looking forward to showing those off, which you'll see in this video. So kicking it off this week, my read of the week, Oblivion Song #1 from Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo Del Felici, I believe. Good stuff. I'm a fan of The Walking Dead. I don't read the comic. I watch the show. Missed the boat on Outcast. So I'm a sucker for sci-fi fantasy. So why not check this out? I guess there's been a bunch of copies out there. I'm reading it for the story right now, but as far as spec-wise, as I've said in the past, big print runs don't really deter me that much, considering where Amazing Spider-Man 300 is and New Mutants number 98 is now, or even Star Wars #1 from the 1970s series. All three of those books had very, very high print runs that also very much in demand right now. So, not saying Oblivion Song will be, but I think it's worth it checking it out just for the read. Amazing Spider-Man number 797, Go Down Swinging, Part 1. I missed the boat on the whole Red Goblin thing, so I figured jump on in time for the big anniversary issue blowout. And according to my comic book dealer, a lot of these, if you don't have them on your pull list, a lot of comic book shops are just holding them and pulling them, not even putting them on the shelves, and just selling them on eBay because they know they can get, like, I don't know, $10 a comic or whatever. So I put it on my pull list, and I was actually really drawn in by this Alex Ross cover. Beautiful. Ross is boss. Continuing on with some of the current books, or some highlights of my pull list. Avengers 681. Just another part of this very ambitious, 19-part story. That's a weekly series running in the Avengers title right now. Good stuff. So here's 681, 682, and 683. And this is another book right now that Marvel has going that's really, really hot. This has been selling out everywhere in my area. So as I said the last couple of weeks, I recommend this title. And a quick correction, I guess because I'm partially brain dead, I said that the new character that debuted in, issue number 679 was named Contender. That is not true. His name is actually Challenger. I have no idea why. Some of the things that come out of my mouth while I'm videotaping just are not rooted in reality, unfortunately. So, yeah. Avengers No Surrender, 683. Great storyline. Major return of a major character next issue. I was surprised to pick this up for cover price. Doctor Strange, 382, which features, I don't think I'm spoiling anything now, but it features the return of the Sentry. So, pretty nice. Batman number 41, first part of the new Poison Ivy story arc that's going on. Tom King is killing it. And for some reason, this copial cover just reminds me of Frank Miller Batman, especially in the Dark Knight Returns when he's fighting against when he's going up against the mutant leader in the mud. For some reason, this kind of reminds me of that. And here's the issue that came out this week, number 42, beautiful Poison Ivy cover. I don't often pick up this title. I think I only own a couple of issues of it, but I am a big fan of Travis Morgan, the Warlord. Definitely, believe it or not, in my top 20 DC characters, and DC has many characters. So you have the Warlord meeting up with Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and done on a, well, not one of Bill Sienkiewicz's better covers, but I've been a Bill Sienkiewicz fan for a little bit now, so I've been picking up his covers here and there when they strike me, and I can't remember him ever doing the Warlord before, so had to pick it up. And the story was pretty good too. I'll probably pick up the rest of the story arc. The Terrifics. Good stuff. I haven't picked up all of the new Age of Heroes coming out of that DC has rolling out of Metal right now. But I did pick up this, and I picked up the Silencer, and so far so good. I've been really impressed with both of those titles, so I would recommend them. Alright, now, on to the back issues. Justice #1, third printing. I've been on the lookout for all these second and third printings from the Justice series, considering that they feature original Alex Ross covers, and as I've said before, I think Alex Ross is boss, so why not? And I guess this would obviously be the lowest printed #1 out of the, I don't know how many versions of #1 they have, so pretty cool, being an Alex Ross fan, being a Justice League fan, and this being my favorite Justice League story of all time. Very cool to pick it up. I don't pick up any of these second printings for online premium prices, but if I can run into them for like, I don't know, $3 or $4, I'll pick them up all day. Here's some nice 90s Drek for you. Bloodbath #2. And why in the world would I pick this up? Well, I read on one of the Google Plus pages that this actually contains the second appearance, if you can see him all the way down there, of Garth Ennis and John McCree's Hitman. Probably his most embarrassing appearance in his short career. So I am a huge fan of Hitman. I own the entire series. I have his first appearance, many of his early appearances in the Demon ongoing title, and I am very, very psyched of the rumor that there might be an ongoing Hitman series on the DC streaming service. So if that's the case, I might have to check that out. That along with Titans, that might be too much for me to ignore. So yeah, second overall appearance of Hitman for $1. Why not? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Volume 1, #9. I actually don't own any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Volume 1. So at one of my honey holes, when I was looking in the independent section, they do have a small section of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm probably going to pick them all up. They're all like maybe between $3 and $6 a piece. So pretty nice. Speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we have Grimjack #26. And this is the first time that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ever appeared in color. So up until this, it's all been black and white. This is the first time that they appeared in color, which I think is pretty significant. And you can find this book anywhere between maybe $1 to $3. Keeping on the Copper Age nostalgia trend, Voltron, Defender of the Universe #1, along with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Super Friends. Voltron was one of my original jams back in the day. Loved Voltron, especially this version of Voltron. I mean Voltron. Did I say Ultron? Probably. But Voltron, okay? So, yeah, every day after school, I would watch this cartoon. Loved it. So I came across this, and I believe this is the first appearance of Voltron in comic books. So this is I didn't even know about this miniseries either. So came across this at one of my honey holes again, and came across this 3-part miniseries for $3. So essentially $1 a piece. So #1, and this book can go from, I don't know, $10, $15 online on a good day. #2. and number 3. Some Copper Age fillers. Fantastic Four, number 275. And this is the issue where some sleazy photographer ends up taking pictures of She-Hulk sunbathing nude on top of the Baxter building, if memory serves correctly. So, for some reason, every time I run across this out in the wild, there's all sorts of spine ticks because it's one of those tough black covers. So I overpaid a little bit for this yesterday. I paid like $5 for it. But, big fan of John Byrne's Fantastic Four, big fan of the Fantastic Four in general, and I think this is a significant She-Hulk issue. So, happy to have it back in the collection. Uncanny X-Men number 155 and 156. Nothing really significant about these issues, but they're just in that sweet zone for the X-Men for me. Now I think I just need issues number 152 and 153, as well as number 94, which is the big one, and I will have finally completed my personal X-Men run of Giant Size X-Men number 1 and 94 all the way through 175, which is my sweet zone for the X-Men. A lot of the things I like about the X-Men happened during that era of awesomeness. So the other 2 issues, not so expensive. Issue 94, that's going to be a tough one. So, but I will definitely get it, because that is my ultimate run in comics. Someday. Alright, how about we skip over into the Bronze Age. Doctor Strange number 22. Awesome Bruna cover right there. And for some reason, I keep on running across these Doctor Strange books in good fine plus condition to very fine minus condition for $1, and I really dig this first Doctor Strange series. So, number 22 and number 23, which is illustrated by Jim Starlin, so both for $1. And don't get me wrong, these books don't go for a lot. I think they're worth like maybe $7 or $8 in mint condition, but like I said, these Bronze Age issues aren't getting any cheaper. So anytime I can pick up some pretty good stuff of characters that I'm interested in, series that I'm interested in for $1, I'm going to do it. Marvel Premiere number 52. The Black Panther versus the Klan. Whew. So, Black Panther versus the Klan. I don't like your chances there very much there, Billy Bob. Oops. Jungle Action number 12. Just an early Black Panther solo appearance from the 1970s. Very cool. Here is a regretful pickup for me. Shanna the She-Devil, number 1. First appearance of Shanna. Very, very clean copy. Especially for a book this old with a white cover. I was so impressed by it. I was like, wow, this is very fine. Plus to near mint minus. But I was so impressed by it that I did not see that it had the corner missing. Arrgh. So, a regretful $20 pickup. Ugh, hurts. But hey, that's how I roll here. I show you the good, the bad, and occasionally the fugly. I managed to scratch off a couple more Tomb of Draculas off of my Tomb of Dracula run. Another run that's not getting any cheaper anytime soon. So, Tomb of Dracula number 47. And number 51. And anytime that you have Dracula thrown down with Blade on the front cover, you just know you're in for a good time. Alright, speaking of Tomb of Dracula, let's use that as a segue into the stash of magazines that I ended up coming across over the past couple of weeks. So along with the ongoing Tomb of Dracula Volume 1, which was in comic book form, after that was canceled, they tried to keep the series going with in like a magazine form. And it didn't last, actually. It lasted for, I want to say, maybe 6 issues. And I've been trying to snatch up those issues, too, to go along with my Tomb of Dracula run. So here's Tomb of Dracula number 3. Crazy awesome cover. Tomb of Dracula #4, which is probably the worst for wear out of all the magazines, probably in that 5.0 range. I didn't even know that I had a date stamp up there. So another one that was kind of regretful. It looked a little bit better in the bag. Here's a book that I didn't know even existed. Dracula Lives, super annual issue. So I guess it's an annual, #1. And just look at that cover. Dracula being burnt at the stake in the middle of Times Square. That's really cool. Doc Savage poster in the background. Or billboard in the background. Really cool. So as I said, I had no idea that this magazine existed, so just picked it up. And so much to my surprise, the main story is done by Marv Wolfman, which shouldn't surprise anyone that is familiar with Tomb of Dracula during this era. But it was illustrated by Neil Adams. So anytime that you throw Neil Adams in the Bronze Age at me, I'll try to snatch that up every time, especially when it's super affordable. Which a lot of times when you put Neil Adams and the Bronze Age together, it's not super affordable. So Dracula Lives, #1. How did I not know that Neil Adams illustrated a Dracula story? Crazy. Another kind of regretful purchase. Monster Madness, #1. Out of all the magazines, this doesn't feature any original illustrated content. It's actually all this is more of a magazine in a truer sense. It just features pictures from classic horror movies, and they try to insert humor with word bubbles. So I was kind of disappointed with that, but it was cheap enough, and it is a Marvel premiere issue from the Bronze Age out of their Marvel Monster group. So pretty cool, I guess. But if I would have been aware of the interiors, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. But on the other hand, I was brought up with a show called The Creature Double Feature, through that show, I've seen all the classic horror movies and the not-so-classic horror movies. I saw all the original Frankenstein, werewolves, Draculas, and a lot of like the weird sci-fi big monster movies from like the 50s and 60s. It was part of my Saturday morning routine for years. So I guess that's one positive spin I can put on it. The Rampaging Hulk, #1. Probably fine to fine plus condition. And I was really impressed with this, too, because the main story is illustrated by Walt Simonson. So I haven't seen Walt Simonson do too much stuff with the Hulk. So really cool. Make some room. Marvel Preview, #3, featuring Blade, the Vampire Slayer. I'm not so. I'll have to do a little research, but is this the first time that Blade had his own solo story? Not sure, but either way, definitely worth picking it up just for that cover. Once again, probably fine condition. And the book that I was most stoked to pick up, Marvel Preview #11. And this magazine, rather, has a lot going for it, in my opinion. It's a second appearance of Star-Lord. And this is the first, I believe, I'm almost positive, this is the first collaboration of the classic creative team of John Byrne and Chris Claremont before they tore it up on the X-Men, or I believe even on Iron Fist. This was the first time that those two cats collaborated with each other. So, as an old-time X-Men geek, that's really cool. Another thing, as you can see in this text at the bottom, a novelette science fiction spectacular in the tradition of Robert A. Heinlein. I guess the author wasn't too keen on them putting that out there, so Marvel had to recall this issue, and they put it back out, but minus the text. So there you go. You have the second appearance of Star-Lord, you have the first collaboration of Chris Claremont and John Byrne, and it's a recalled magazine. So pretty cool stuff. I picked it up for like $10. Once again, fine condition. It has probably several spine ticks from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 spine ticks. So I would put it in like a fine condition. And with that, I want to say that I only need one more Marvel premiere and I'll have all the old school Star-Lord appearances. So as an old school Marvel cosmic geek, that makes me happy. Alright. So as I said before, anytime that you say Neil Adams and Bronze Age and that it's affordable, I am going to pick it up every time. And that's the case with these next several issues. So Conan number 49, featuring a Neil Adams cover. Very cool. I want to say that Neil Adams did like 3 covers for the Conan Barbarian series. I own 2 out of the 3, well, maybe 4. I know he did number 37. I know he did the interiors, and I believe he did the cover for that one. And then 44, 48, and 49, I think. So I'm still on the lookout for 44. Superman number 240. This cover here was homaged by Neil Adams himself during Neil Adams month. I believe it was on a Harley cover, if I remember correctly. I don't own it, so don't quote me on that. But as I've said before, Neil Adams in the Bronze Age. If you're talking Neil Adams on Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, or the Avengers, those books can be pretty pricey. But for some reason, his Superman cover stuff is still very affordable. So, Superman number 240. Dig this cover. Action Comics number 466. Lex Luthor. He's like, I turned Batman and the Flash into kids and killed them. You're next, Superman. That is pretty cold. And then he's like punching us, a child version of Superman with brass knuckles on the cover. Awesome. So Neil Adams, and I really dig these old Superman issues that have like guest stars like Batman and Flash. Didn't happen too often back then. Let's move these out of the way. Here was the Neil Adams cover that I was really psyched to finally add to the PC. Action Comics number 485. Once again, Superman breaking the chains. And I've actually had this on my list for a while. Picked it up for $5 yesterday in a very fine, it's near minus condition. And this book wasn't really worth anything. A couple of years ago when I first started looking for it, I looked it up on eBay yesterday. And this book can go between, like, I don't know, 10, 15, $20. So, pretty cool. Vengeance of Moon Knight, number 1. This is the Alex Ross variant. And love this cover, man. I can't wait to read it, too. I didn't read this volume at all, but I noticed that it features artwork from Jerome Pena of Seven to Eternity fame. So, definitely going to crack that bad boy open. Here's a book that I'm embarrassed to say that it hasn't been in my collection. And I've never ended up actually reading it either. The Incredible Hulk, Future Imperfect, the first appearance of the Maestro. And this one boggles my mind how it fell through the cracks. A Hulk story done by Peter David and George Perez. That sounds like a good time to me. Little Silver Age action. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 8. Once again, a little bit of regret on this one also. I thought this would feature Jim Steranko artwork, but I believe it ended up featuring Herb Trimp artwork. But nonetheless, I'm still trying to flesh out my Silver Age collection in my PC, so a welcome addition. As is this, my first Silver Age issue of World's Finest. Picked it up mainly for the cover of the Joker and Luthor duking it out. So, pretty cool. And like I said numerous times before, when I can find Silver Age in a good grade and a good price, I'm going to pick it up. The Hero Discovered, Mage, number 6. I've wanted this book for a little while too. This is this is the first time that Grendel appeared in color in comics. So just recently I picked up Comico Primer number 2, the first appearance of Grendel, as well as Grendel Volume 1, number 1. And after I did a little research, I realized that original Grendel miniseries was incomplete, and Matt Wagner considers it to be more of like a rough draft. So I wanted to read the original Grendel story, so I gravitated towards this series of Mage, which I actually want to read the main story of this too, because this is one of those Copper Age indie classics that I've never actually read. So this is the only book that goes for anything out of the whole series. I think it can go, this is another one that can go between like $15, $20, I guess. but definitely want to check it out. It's only like 2 to 4 page backups in these issues, and they're done in more of like a prose writing format instead of traditional comic book writing format, and with illustrations to go along with them. But I've been loving it so far, and it's about time that I read the first Grendel storyline. So, pretty cool. Secret Origins of Superheroes, number 17. And a lot of people consider this to be the first appearance of the Huntress. I think CGC considers that issue, I forget what it is, I own it too, of All-Star Comics. But I consider that to be more of like a cameo appearance. She basically only appears in the last panel in shadows. And this issue, it fleshes out her origin. She's on the cover. So when it comes to the Huntress, I would almost do the same thing I did with Red Sonja. Red Sonja's first appearance, some people consider it to be issue 23, others consider it to be, Conan the Barbarian issue 23, others consider it to be Conan the Barbarian issue 24. So to cover your bases, I would get both if you can. And the same thing with the Huntress. I would pick up All-Star Comics, and I would definitely pick this one up if you just to have all your bases covered if you want her first appearance. All right. Winding down. Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I've wanted this book for a long time, and for a while this was really, really hot. And in some stores, like one of my local comic book shops, this is still on the wall for like $100, which is weird because you can get it online for much cheaper than that now. I want to say I paid like $40 for this, which is, you could get it still cheaper if you shop around and get it in the right auction. But I'm happy with that price. For the most part, it's been a lot more expensive than that since I've been trying to hunt this issue down. Near mint condition, first Ultimate Spider-Man. And I don't own many, I haven't gone after many modern Spider-Man issues. For the most part, I left the Spider-Man franchise after one more day. Won't get into it. There's been enough said and written and bitched about it, so I won't get into it that much. But I've always wanted this book right here, so very happy to pick it up. And now I'm going to end it off with my pick of the haul. Runaways #1, first appearance of Runaways. Another one of those series that kind of fell through the cracks. Wasn't on my pull list. I was unfamiliar with Brian K. Vaughan at the time, and I gave this a read, and I really liked it, man. First appearance of the Runaways. I haven't checked out the TV series because I'm not going to purchase it on Hulu or whatever, but I've heard pretty good things about it, even though to me personally it has a kind of like, I don't know, a CW vibe production wise, I guess. But this is a series that I would like to actually hunt down, in at least the first 2 volumes that were written by Brian K. Vaughan, and I guess the next volume was written by Joss Whedon. So I really dig these characters. I'd like to see Marvel do something with them again. Who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But just one of those modern keys that I wanted off my list. So that will be it for this week. I will be back in a couple of weeks with a comic book collection spotlight video focusing in on the Big Red S, Superman. Whenever Action Comics 1000 drops, you can expect a comic book collection spotlight focusing in on my love for Superman. My the first hero that I ever actually read in comic book form. So I guess my gateway superhero. Superman movies from the 1970s with Christopher Reeves, along with Star Wars, were a big impact on my pop culture psyche, as well as my comic book collecting habits moving forward from childhood to adulthood. So I don't get many views for those comic book collection spotlights, but it's basically for the hardcore people out there that actually like to read comics. So as long as I get some views, I'm pretty happy with that. It was actually a request from Nintendude1229, so thank you for requesting that and motivating me to do a comic book collection spotlight. And yeah, that's all I have for this week, so take care. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and yeah, I'll see you around. See ya.